everybody. Welcome to the live stream for the OSINT Curious project. I'm Micah Hoffman, the president of OSINT Curious, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. I'm going to be joined in just a moment by one of my colleagues on the OSINT Curious project. But if this is the first time you are seeing or hearing of the OSINT Curious project, take a look at the things down below, scrolling across the screen. We've got our website, we've got our handle that we use on multiple platforms, an invite link to the Searchlight OSINT Discord. We've got a link to our Patreon page, which many of you have used, and I thank you for that, for helping us keep the lights on here. And lastly, we have a little reminder to subscribe to our channel. As I mentioned, I'm Micah. This is my good friend and partner in crime, Stephen Harris.
Co-conspirator.
Co-conspirator, nice. How you doing, Stephen?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing well. Cool. So we just started, and I wanted to say thank you to all of our wonderful viewers and listeners that are out there on the platforms that we use: Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. As always, please send us a comment in whatever platform you're on to let us know that you're out there. I see some longtime viewers here: Labella, Matthew, Adi. Welcome. And just so you know, sometimes the comments that people put into the chat can only be seen by other people on that platform. We here can see all of them, but if you're using YouTube, you're only going to be able to see the YouTube comments. So those on Twitch, like Jay Bellivax, are only going to see the comments for that platform. So welcome, everybody. Abdul Manim, Dan. Hey, this is great. We've got a terrific team. Stephen, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. I've had a week's holiday and I've forgotten everything. I feel like I've forgotten everything I ever learned about computers and the internet. So awesome. I'm sure it'll all come back in the next few minutes.
I'm sure it'll come back really quickly. Cool. So a couple things before we move on to our Geoguessr first half of the show, and then our second half of the show, where we're going to be showing you some tools and some tips and other things. Wanted to let you all know about two important things. First off, on the bottom of the screen here, we have our next week of live streams. We are reserving the week of July 19th through the 23rd at the same time, 1800 hours UTC. And we'll be doing a whole nother week of live stream. So please put that on your calendars or agendas. Also, wanted to let you know that if you have questions or suggestions for Stephen, myself, or other people here in the OSINT Curious project to cover here on our live streams, we are happy to do so. Submit them there at the bit.ly OSINT Curious feedback form. It's just a Google form, a short link to a Google form. Submit it there, and then we'll take a look at what your topic is, and we'll maybe cover it. Or hit us up over on the Searchlight Discord. We're over there. And actually, I think tomorrow I'm flying solo here, and I'm going to be covering user agents and all of the interesting things that go along with them for OSINT purposes tomorrow. All right, Stephen, are you ready to do some Geoguessr? Oh, I guess before we do Geoguessr, maybe we can, I can share what we're going to be doing the second half of the show for those.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, for you too.
Yeah, I'd really like to know.
So today, what I want to do is I want to do some cumulative learning here. Today, we're going to be talking about using some classic types of tools that are going to allow you to dig deeper into some of the websites that you're going to be using. For instance, we're going to be working in the second half of our show using the web developer tools. We're also going to be decoding some encoded JavaScript and diving into how do websites work, so that when you visit a website and you're like, well, I know there's some data there, I know there's something there, or you just want to check what it's doing, you can feel comfortable doing that. So we're going to talk about that later on. And then what that will do is that will set the stage for tomorrow when we talk about user agents, because some of the things that we're going to do in the web developer tools is going to be used tomorrow as Well, all right. Enough talking. Let's get into geoguessering. That's definitely a word. All right. So for those of you that know, we play Geoguessr. We play the daily challenge in the Geoguessr as a warm-up, and we need your help. I need your help because I'm still learning about this wonderful world we live in. And I know that many of you have some great experience. So we're going to be using the geoguessr.com site, doing their daily challenge, and it will place us in a certain place using the Google Street View imagery from certain parts of the world. And what we need to do is figure out where in the world we are. Now, a couple of rules here. First off, if you've already done the daily challenge for today, please wait until after we finish our guess to then tell us how you solved it. Maybe you saw a flag that we didn't. Maybe you went the other direction on the road, whatever. Please wait until after we solve it. Also, no Googling or otherwise searching any of the things that you see in the images. So we want to make sure that we're just using our brains. And lastly, tell Stephen and I why you think that we are in a certain place in the world. So if you saw a flag or you have some kind of idea about what you're seeing, tell us why, not just where. All right. Actually, Aditya, tomorrow when we get into user agents and stuff, actually maybe on Wednesday when Nix, you're going to be back here, maybe what we'll do is I will show you how to find the exact latitude and longitudes for the GeoGuessr tool, so that if you want to get 25,000 points for their daily challenge, you can do that. So again, Aditya, we're kind of setting the stage for that with what we're going to be learning today. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Here we go. We're going to be doing the daily, where am I? There we go. We're going to do the daily challenge. And yesterday, we got a score of 14,637, which is not great, but it allows us a lot of room to go up and get bigger values for our score. Here we go. Let's get ready to... I'm going to make this full screen just because. There we go. All right, here we go. We're going to start the game. We have 3 minutes. Ooh, Steven, I'm getting an outback kind of thing.
Yeah, outback, like Australia or... So, there's a car. The car's driving on the right.
Yes.
So not Australia.
It can't be Australia, so it could be South America, but it feels very very dry. Let's see, what does this say? Vinho do
Produtor
Monte Moneta.
That is Spanish or Portuguese.
Yeah, definitely something like that. Let's just take a look. Let's head down this way and just see what we got here. Got power line. Okay, well, we got power lines. One day I'll remember all of the different power lines and see what, and memorize that stuff. All right, here's another. It does sound like Portuguese. Let's see. Ooh. Furo Agualuz.
I'm not an expert, but it does kind of sound more Portuguese and Spanish. I can't explain all the O's everywhere. I don't know.
Okay. John Marquis also agrees with you, says Portugal. Matthew also says Portuguese. Vinho Portuguese, but it could be a name of a person or a name of a location. Let's just spin around and see. All right, there's a sign. This could be like Brazil too, right? Or is this field more too arid for Brazil?
Yeah, I was thinking of Brazil being a bit more green and tropical.
All right.
But I'm kind of leaning towards Portugal at the moment, but let's see if we can get anything else.
All right. Oh, vinho is wine, John Marquis says. Well, is it wine in Portuguese? Because that would be really convenient.
I kind of think Spanish might be like vino without the H, so maybe it is Portuguese. I'm trying to convince myself now. I need to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we have 1 minute left. Subtruth says wine from the producer is vino. All right. So we have this car that's been following us. I see an EU type of plate here, blue. Yeah. And so we've got 54 seconds. I'll guess Portugal.
Yeah, and Portugal's quite small, so you can put it anywhere and be.
Well, I'm thinking it's probably south.
Yeah.
We're on a small road. Let's just go up here, maybe. All right.
Yeah,
nobody is yelling at me yet.
That's okay.
All right, here we go. We are correct. It is Portugal. Well done, people. That is 96 kilometers. So I decided to place it in the south because it looked more dry than the northern. Definitely. Labella says definitely looks Portuguese by looking the way the script's written. All right, cool. For those of you that don't know, we use the geotips.net site to learn a little bit more about the different locations that we are seeing over here in Google Street View. And one of the things that we can do is kind of take a look at each country. So this was Portugal, which we guessed based upon Vino, or the Vinho. Sorry, my pronunciation is probably terrible. But in the EU license plate, and Nix, you also saw the driving on the right-hand side of the road, which automatically discounted some of the other places. So here are some street signs. We didn't really see that. We didn't see this electricity pole. We kind of saw that one, but again, here's a license plate. We saw the yellow on one side and the blue on the left. All right. Yeah, John Marquis said, I would have said Australia until the driving on the right. Absolutely. One of the biggest discriminators for me here is are you on the right or the left-hand side of the road, if you can determine that. Now, this is what I was looking at for what I was thinking about for Portugal is these wonderful mountains, but we also have this area, which is very dry and scrubby like. So good call, people. Good call. All right. And let's go down to this is kind of what we were seeing here, right? It's very similar. Short trees. Okay, cool. Well done. I like it. We're off and running. That is a great score too. Okay, round number 2. Here we go. All right, we are in big mountains. Big mountains, lush. You know, if I had to guess right now, I would say somewhere in Scandinavia.
Yeah, it's kind of upper northern hemisphere or New Zealand.
Yeah, true. All right, we got some bollards over there. Let's just go backtrack here a little bit and see if we can see this sign. And we're not going to be able to see that sign. Nope.
Well, Iceland. Yeah, John Marquis suggested
Iceland. That is an interesting thought.
Shout, possibly.
Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to just drive until we see a sign or we see something else that's recognizable, like another car, to determine are we on the right-hand or left-hand side. Actually, we can also use, well, there was a pole, but again, not that helpful. All right, what does that say? For sale.
So English.
Does look like English. Let's go this way and maybe we can see a little bit more.
CRT.
CRT and no. Let's just go a little bit further. See what we got here. We have a phone number 0321440.
Well, it's definitely not a UK phone number format, so it's definitely not.
Do you have mountains like that in the UK?
Say again, sorry.
Do you have mountains like this? Oh, we're driving
in Scotland. Yeah, in a place like Scotland, you might.
Look at this. We're driving on the left here. You see this?
So I'm leaning to New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning to New Zealand there. And that 75 is probably kilometers?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Gelbelt and J Bellevax says New Zealand too. We've got English driving on the left. Yeah, here's another one. You could see 55 around that turn. All right, I'm guessing New Zealand too, but I'm not seeing anything that'll tell us where in New Zealand.
I've only been to New Zealand once.
Lucky.
And it's great. It kind of like, but the South Island is more mountainous than the North Island.
Okay. I'm not seeing anything on these signs. Okay, so we're going to go to New Zealand. And the South Island's more mountainous, you said.
Yeah, there are both on both islands, but the North Island is more tropical because it's warmer, and the South Island is hillier and cooler. Watch me be wrong now, of course.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we've seen water too, water and mountains. So I'm going to put us right in that area. Is that cool?
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
All right. Nobody's yelling at me on the chat, so here we go. Not too bad. We needed to go even further south. Well done, Nix. Very impressive. So, Nix, recap there how we figured out New Zealand.
So, first of all was the terrain, but then that could have been anywhere. We said it could have been Northern Hemisphere or New Zealand, which is kind of a bit extreme. And then we saw from the signs they were driving on the left, and we also saw an English language sign. So that tips it more towards New Zealand than, say, Canada or somewhere like that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So and the English signs, New Zealand, all of those things kind of put us into play here. As you can see, New Zealand is driving on the left-hand side. It's the red. We didn't see any flags. We didn't really see the Google car. Somebody mentioned the red bollards. Yeah, Jay Bellevax said the red bollards. Is that a New Zealand thing? Because I don't know, that would be a neat thing. Hey, yeah, definitely a good one. In here we see what you were talking about, Nix, about the really lushness of some of the
Yeah, so because it's in the southern hemisphere, the northern island is the warmer and more tropical, and the southern island kind of gets colder and more barren.
Cool. Yeah,
well, we saw that sign too, didn't we?
Yep. And the road signs here look a lot more like United States road signs with the yellow backgrounds and the arrows than the European road signs. So another discriminator. Well done, people. I'm impressed. We're on our game today. All right, here we go.
Well.
Let's go to round 3. And thank you to our audience that's helping out. This is terrific. Okay, so we see pastures, some rolling hills.
Yeah.
Cars up there. Let's head down this way. There's some cars. Oh, what does that say? Oh, I've gone past it, haven't I? Well, let's see if I can zoom in here. I'm going to back up and look at the big yellow sign over here for us. Here we go. What do we... that looks more European, I think.
It does look European.
And because it looked like there was a comma between the kilometers and the tenths of kilometers. Let's just see. Let's go around this way. Do you have trampolines over there in Europe?
We do.
Okay, that's good.
Are those houses kind of look German or sort of near Eastern Europe, like Czech Republic, Slovakia, but Germany doesn't have very widespread street view coverage.
Right, and there's another sign coming up here. Let's see if I can see it here. There, right here on this. So I would say that, all of the Germanys that we thought were Germany were really Austria.
That's that looks Polish or Czech, that language, maybe Hungarian.
Yeah, let's see.
That's not German.
That's not German. Definitely not.
100%.
Roadside canal. Oh yeah. So John Marquis says that there's a canal over here, a drainage ditch kind of thing. That's kind of interesting. We've got mountains. It could be like Slovenia. Painted trees suggest Eastern Europe, possibly Lithuania. Okay. Let's just see if we can get down the road here at all and see anything that's got some more information. All right, so we have the yellow yield sign. No wording on there.
Loudspeakers on that laptop. That's kind of weird.
I saw that. Let's see if we can get down here where we can maybe see something else before I have to guess. So what are you thinking if I had to guess right now?
I would go for Poland at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was
what about our audience? We got 30 seconds here. I'm thinking more like Albania. I'm not sure why, but it's always been like Albania in these situations. Oh, there's a sign. What does that say? Zastavena. All right, we got 23 seconds. Lots of places.
Yes, they do. I'm going to go for Czechia. I reckon check it. They're right in the middle, so it's as close as many other countries as possible.
All right, I'm going to Slovakia just for the hell of it. Here we go. And let's see, where is that?
Where was it? Where was it?
I don't know. Let's see. It was Czechia.
We were still. See, we did the right thing by hedging our bet. So we did.
I think we did. Like middle of Europe. Yes. All right. Hey, that wasn't bad. There wasn't really a lot to go off of. So, Nix, you said the type of the house. I mean, those kind of rust-colored tiles are things that always make me feel like Europe. But
yeah,
it was definitely not Cyrillic for the language that we saw. But it also wasn't, Spanish or French or anything like that. Oh, Labella, did we miss a CZ sign?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that would have been perfect if we'd seen that. Cool. So, well, let's just go to, let's go over there and come on. There we go. Let's see. Slovakia, Czechia. All right. I want to just scroll all the way down to the language. Come on. There we go. Alphabet, script. Yeah. So there's a bunch of the languages that have these upside down carrots over the Z's and the C's and the D's. All right. Cool. Astrum says, I went the other way and there were cars with .cz domains on them. Okay. Darn it. Yeah. Sometimes, I go down one way. I'm like, I probably should have gone the other way. But you know what? 4,400 is very
not bad score.
I'm not really upset about that. Okay. Round number 4. Here we go. Ooh, palm trees. We've got palm trees.
Palm trees, big buildings. The little black jacket.
Black jacket. I'm feeling like Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai or...
It feels like Dubai. I don't know.
Abu Dhabi, somewhere.
Yeah. Let's just see what we can see on these cars.
Oh, John's saying this is Dubai.
Who's saying Dubai? Oh, OSINT Ozzy's saying Dubai too. Now tell us why you think Dubai. I mean, I see all the trees and stuff. Yeah, that definitely. I mean, all the palm trees makes me feel like it's some place. Look up. Is that building something that's I don't know that building. So is that?
It looks famous, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. More like the buildings and the lavishness. Okay.
The Burj Khalifa, something like that. The world's tallest building.
Is it?
Yeah, Astrum.
Oh, wait, and there's a flag. Here's some flags. Is that the Emirates?
I think that could be the Emirates flag on the left, possibly. It's hard to tell when it's...
All right. Okay. So this is Burj Khalifa. Okay. So let's go ahead over there. And since people are like, that's where we are, I'm just going to listen to my audience. All right. Dubai, Burj Khalifa. Now help me where this is. Okay. Because I don't know. MR Company. Right. So tell me where it is in reference to the Palm Jumeirah. Help me out, people. We got this. We can get this perfectly. I'm right over it. Okay. All right. South of the bay. All right, here's the bay. All right. People are going to start yelling at me. Back north. All right. Downtown Dubai, right there. Oh, there's the Burj Khalifa.
There is.
Right there. So like right here, we were in one of these circles. I'm betting we're like over here.
That's going to be within a few hundred meters.
Well, we've got a couple of seconds. So let's just see if we got... Okay, so here's a loop. Yeah, I think we're...
It's one of those roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But are we here or there? I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, there's no water between us and
Okay, look, go for the north one then.
This one right here?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, there we go. Oh, we were on the south.
Oh, yes.
It's all right. That was awesome. Hey, so who was the first one? I want to give this person some...
Kudos.
Some props. Abdullah Monim, I think. Oh, no, John Marquis. Let's see. John Marquis says that's the Burj Khalifa. Nice. And John, I'm assuming you have some experience of the buildings over there, or do you just like that? Also, Abdullah Monim mentioned Burj Khalifa. So how did you all notice that? I mean, how did you recognize that building? You've been there before, or you have... Let's see. Spent a lot of time geolocating things in Dubai. There you go. All right, John. That's cool. Hey, so that was terrific.
Is that our highest ever score on a single question? We've only dropped 1 point out of 5,000. I think.
You know what? I don't think it is. I remember one time we had Versailles, and somebody said, "Oh, that's like the Galerie de Glace or something," and I was able to get it within like 4 meters, and we got a 5,000. Yeah, it was pretty good. All right. Well done, people. Yep, I see all the people now saying, hey, the Burj. Yes, well done. All right. I love those where you have that landmark. Were you on one time when we were in New York City and I was going down the street? I'm like, let's look behind us. And I turned the video around or the
The World Trade Center.
Yeah, the World Trade Center was right there. Like, oh, this is going to be easy. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. Well done, everybody. That is awesome. I think we've already surpassed our score from yesterday just with 4 rounds. Let's crush this and do it again in round number 5. Here we go. All right. So agriculture, wood building products. Let's head. We got overhead power lines. Let's head down here to this. Oh,
we've got some language here.
Halco.
Something.
Oh, and there's a website on this. Let's see if I'll bet the porta potty is gonna. Yeah. Oh, .ca. It could be Canada, right? 905 area code. That could be Canada.
There was there's a phone number on the toilet.
1866. That could be United States. But the one is for United. Well, here, let's just see what this says. Thompson Construction. That feels like United States. Let's just see what this says. 905. Do not enter. All right. I'm feeling like the USA. Let's just see what we got here. 905 is Toronto area. Thank you, Gillis. Yes, and this one definitely looks more like Canada than the United States. All right, so we've got Toronto, and yeah, I was not sure whether that .ca was actually the top-level domain or whether it was something that was cut off. But okay, so we got .ca. So for Canada, Southern Ontario vibes, John Marquis says. All right, let's head on up this road here and see what we got. All right, so I'm thinking South Ontario. I'll go with that.
And it's super rural, isn't it? There's no big buildings in the distance. There's no big roads.
But it's also not very northern because we're seeing a lot of agriculture and not a lot of those stringy trees. All right, so let's see. Yeah, lots of farmland there. All right. Let's head down the road. In fact, let's go back to that job site and see if we can just see anything else that could tell us. All right. Maybe on the porta potty. Let's see. 905 NSauce Halco portables. All right. I think we're going to have to, let's see. Road not open. All right. Let's just go ahead to Ontario. Let's see. So we're thinking like close to Toronto, like down here, or probably more.
Is it Toronto area code? And it's flat open.
Yeah, so like
land, isn't it?
Like there?
Yeah, I don't know the area, but the other places to the north are national parks, and it doesn't look like sort of place you would make a national park, I guess.
All right, let's do it.
Let's see what
this was. Oh, we were 161 kilometers apart. Yeah, so right over near the Buffalo, New York, and Niagara Falls. Wow. That's pretty cool. Well done, people. All right, so that one we had the .ca. We also had the 905 area code, which Gillies Fortin said was Toronto area, and with that we just placed it on the map. Ooh, I'm really excited to see what we got here.
Well, I think we've done okay.
I think we have. Let's see, 22,772. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And what I love is that we were very, very close on all of these. That was terrific, man. So here's our daily challenge. Oh, we got gold on that.
Awesome.
Well done, people. And of course, Nix, we couldn't have done this without our wonderful audience.
We literally could not have done it.
We literally,
without John spotting that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, so Gillis is, and maybe I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I always apologize if I am. Said, well, that's where you're from. So that was easy. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes with these geolocation challenges, Stephen, you've done a huge number of geolocation type of OSINT investigations and challenges in your time. Having that knowledge of buildings of the world or area codes or language always is helpful. Oh, I'm sorry, Jilly. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Well, that is the first half of our show, and we are done with our Geoguessr. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. We are the OSINT Curious project, and the information scrolling across the bottom of your screen is something that you might want to take and be aware of. So let's move on to the next half. In the next half, we're going to do a bunch of cool things, because I love understanding the platforms that we do stuff on. So much of the OSINT that we do nowadays is on websites. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so the more we can understand websites and the more we can understand the tools that we have to interact with the websites, the better and the more effective we can be. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with some tools. I'm going to use Firefox. Now, the Firefox that I have is on a Linux system, but this is Firefox. It's just the most recent version 89 of Firefox. This is accessible on Linux, Mac, and Windows, wherever you want. So the stuff that I'm doing is specific to Firefox. However, in Chrome, in Internet Explorer, Edge, in other browsers, Brave, Safari, they have similar tools. So what I'm showing you works in Firefox. We could also do this in Chrome or other ones as well. So I thought what we might do is take an example site and kind of reverse engineer how it works. This is a site here, the Go Find Who, which is a OSINT focused site. And one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have is this site safe to use? How does it work? And if I put in some information there, is it just going to send that to the owners of the site, or is everything happening in JavaScript in my browser? So let's take a look at it. We'll do some reverse engineering of the site. I'll explain some things. And if you have questions, throw them in the chat. Happy to talk about it. And Stephen, please interrupt me whenever you want. All right.
Okay.
Cool. So this is Go Find Who. Those of you that remember the Intel Techniques website, there were a whole bunch of JavaScript-based tools where you type in something like a first name of John, last name of Doe, and then you hit one of these general searches. And what it does is it takes the information here, and then puts it into the URL for a certain website, and it will open up a new tab in your web browser. So on the Intel Techniques site, none of the data, or very little of the data, was actually being sent to the Intel Techniques site. Everything was happening in your browser. Well, a lot of these tools do that same thing. So when you bring up this page, your browser loads up a whole bunch of JavaScript that governs how this website works. Let's see how it looks. So we're going to first go into the web developer tools. And again, this is in Firefox. So if you're in Firefox, feel free to play along. I've gone to the little pancake menu here, more tools. We're going to turn on web developer tools. And you notice there's Control-Shift-I on my Linux system. You also can hit the F12 key, which is something that I really like doing. Now, this tool is built into the web browser. We're not hacking anything. This is a very big concern that I know a lot of people have is by doing this, am I doing something that's going to get me in trouble? What we're doing now is just looking at what's in our web browsers. We're looking at those kind of hidden JavaScript scripts that are being sent to our browser that our browser is executing. We're looking at some of the endpoints. And otherwise, we're just looking at what's already in our browser. So no, for what we're doing right now, there's no hacking or anything like that involved. Let's take a look at the different tools right across the top. And I'm not going to go through every single one of these because, to be honest, some of them I just never use in the world of OSINT. The inspector is really helpful because the inspector allows us to find out how certain pieces of the site are put together. You can see over here we have body, div. This is source code of the page. And as I move my mouse over different pieces like this div ID menu, you see on the left-hand side that this area over here turns blue. That tells you that this content in here, if I click on that, has to do with this navigation menu over here. All right, cool. I'm more interested in this side on the right, and that's this right wrapper. Cool. All right. So here we have all of the information that we need. These are all the scripts that run how you what happens in your browser when you click on one of these buttons. For instance, if I click on Spokio right here, it opens a new window, puts in John, then a dash, then Doe in the URL, and causes Spokio to go ahead and do whatever it's doing. So all it's doing is taking these values and putting them in a URL. So that's the inspector. It essentially is the same thing as if you were to go ahead and look at the source code of the page. View page source. Here we have all of that Wait a second. Hang on. Let's go back over here and look at this. The inspector had all of this stuff over here, the body, the begin navigation, the right wrapper. But when I view the source code of the page, I have all these meta things and all. And then this HTML right here, and it says enable JavaScript to view this page. Well, where's all the stuff? I love doing these rhetorical questions. Of course we know how to do this. Hang on, Nick asks the question, how do you determine tool in Linux or OSINT or pen testing? Like, for example, would you consider GoBuster, OSINT, or pen test tool? Nick, I'm not sure if you're the one that asked that question or a similar question over in the Searchlight Discord, but some of the tools are more passive OSINT. Some of them are more active OSINT, and some of them are hacker tools or penetration testing tools. And sometimes it depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. For instance, the GoBuster tool is like the Dirbuster tool that we used to use in pen testing. And it sends a whole bunch of requests to a web server to enumerate resources on that site. So in that case, it could be called OSINT, but it's active OSINT. You are sending thousands and thousands of requests to a website to determine what resources are there, maybe what unlinked resources are there. So that would definitely be active. And sometimes if you access certain places that are more sensitive or take down the server or whatever, that could have some really bad implications. So,
which is probably worth explaining, I guess, for some people at least. There is a very big overlap between the first part of a penetration test where you do your recon and size up the website you're looking at, and OSINT. There's a huge overlap. It's only when you go a bit further that they start to diverge a little bit and become a bit more different.
Yeah, I think Nick's one of the things that I remember from doing penetration tests is that the OSINT, or the reconnaissance portion, really serves to inform what you're going to be hacking on or what information you have to start your pen test. So you can think of the OSINT as the reconnaissance, and then what you do with that would be more of the penetration testing type of things. All right, so let's take a look at this. This site here has a whole bunch of content here. If I scroll to the right, you can see this no script. Oh, hang on. Oh, no. You know what? There's all of this. It's all on one line, and I hate that. So let's just copy this out and go to another tool where I can word wrap. This is VS Codium, just a text editor. And I'm just going to paste it in there and do word wrap. Toggle my word wrap, and there you go. Look at this. This is all of this. All of these percents are that content that we saw right here. It is huge, and it is just going on and on and on. Now, for some of us, we're like, well, what the heck is this? Are these percents? What is that? And for this, what I want to do is go into CyberChef, another tool that we covered actually yesterday on the broadcast. So what we can do is take all of this, copy it, and head over to the CyberChef tool. Now, maybe later on in the week we'll cover CyberChef, but CyberChef is a tool that is one that can do a lot of transformations, a lot of decodings and all. And what we've got here is a whole bunch of percents. For many of you, you probably can recognize that this is probably URL decoding, or this is sometimes called percent encoding. And you can see here in CyberChef, if we move this into the recipe, this content here, all of these percents, turn into the JavaScript that makes up the site. And what this site has done is it has encoded all of that JavaScript here to make it harder for people to understand what the site's doing, or to maybe prevent people from stealing their code and using it. But we can just take a look at this and we see, oh, look, here's a JavaScript function that opens a window, goes to go find who search Google search HTML. Here's one that opens a window and goes to Google search operators. So this is probably the navigation stuff. And if we come down here and keep scrolling down, what we will probably have is some of those other functions that govern how to do things with the Facebook profile ID and other stuff. So just to recap, one of the things that we're seeing here in the web developer tools is that JavaScript that we see over here that tells the website how to work. This JavaScript is encoded in those percents, and you have to go through and do the percent decoding, or the URL decoding, using a tool like CyberChef. Whereas over here, if we're looking at that page as it's rendered and executed in our browser has already done those transformations for us. So when we're looking at this in the web developer tools, we can see, oh, look, these are the functions that we would normally see in the CyberChef tool. Is that clear? Is that good, Nix?
That is crystal clear. Thank you.
Cool. So one of the benefits of using something like the web developer tools versus right-clicking and save as, or right-clicking and view page source, is that you see that executed code and you can take a look at it. You can even use it by going to the console. Here, any of those JavaScript commands that we saw, in any of those JavaScript functions that we see over here, we can actually call them in our browser and see what they do. So that's the console page over here. Now, the next one I want to pull up is this network tab. This network tab is something that I use all the time.
Mm-hmm. This is the most fun bit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go ahead and hold down the Shift key and hit the reload button. And the reason is I want all of the resources of the page to be reloaded. So Shift and then reload. And here we have essentially what are the files that my browser is requesting to make up this web page. Here you can see the status, which is, was it a good pull or was it a forbidden resource? Is my browser blocking it? Like you see right here, this is my uBlock origin ad blocker that's blocking access to that place. But here you see JavaScript files, cascading style sheets, image files that make up the site. And when you click on them here, this resource is that image, which we see right up there. So all we're doing is we're looking at the components that make up the site. This is something that can be really, really useful, and we'll show you throughout the week that using web developer tools, we can find endpoints that we didn't know about. We can find other ways to interact with our target pages. Also, we can find some of that cool stuff. Like here's that enabled JavaScript to view this page that we saw over here. Enabled JavaScript to view this page right there. And when we look back at this page, if we look at the raw content, you can see that this is exactly what it looked like when we viewed the source code. So this network will show you the source code of the page, whereas the inspector shows that content executed and rendered. And if I'm using terms that are complicated or whatever, or this is above your head, just let me know. And I'm happy to go ahead and talk more about or explain them better. In fact, one of the things I wanted to share is this. Nix, you created this document, didn't you?
I did, yeah. This is our OSINT Curious project resource list. So it is a living document, so it's always kept up to date-ish with all our 10-minute tips or our blog posts, and it's all organized by theme. So if you want to know how to do something, and we covered it in a previous webcast or blog post, then you can look in there and it'll tell you what we what we covered, and there'll be a link to the material too.
Yep. And so I want to pull up that in the websites and networks 10-minute tip section, we have a 10-minute tip YouTube video that Sector 035 did using web developer tools and working with Instagram. And I did one over here using web developer tools too. So if what I'm talking about right now is a little confusing, take a look at this. I've thrown the link into the chat as well. So, Nix, one of the things that I use this section for is to understand how what resources are being loaded and where they're loaded from. So, over here we have the domain, so you can see that this is loaded from the Go Find Who site, whereas some of these other ones are loaded from like Cloudflare. And when you click on these things, what happens is over here you can pull apart what was requested or what the response is. The request is something set from your system, and the response is what came back. Now, the confusing thing is that when your browser makes a request to a site, there's the header portion that you don't really see, and then there's the body portion. That body portion is what we're looking at over here in the response. This is the payload, what came back. And in this case, let's see, my request would be, well, there's no parameters, but we can show another one that had parameters. Actually, like this one has parameters. Oh, well, that's not cool. So the headers over here are going to have everything like your user agent string. This is what the response was. Let's take a look at the request headers. Here we have the host. We were going to go find who. Here's the user agent, and this is going to come into play tomorrow when I go more into user agent. But here we can see what was that user agent that I sent from my browser over there. We also would see any cookies or other things like that that we were sending to them. And then the site will send back the headers. And this can have a lot of different things in there, from setting cookies to other things like, hey, look, report to endpoints, cloudflare.com, report blah, blah, blah. So this is also, this will also show you security things that are in place and other content. And then we have cookies, which this site doesn't have any, but I bet that Geoguessr does. Let's just take a look at this for Geoguessr, and let me reload. There we go. And this is JSON. So I'm just on the Geoguessr page. Now, Geoguessr is a lot more complicated than an application because I'm logged in. They have a session created. So there's a lot more data being sent back and forth. And some of that data is this JSON data. Now, that's a stack trace. Let's see. Here's the response. Let's look at the raw data. There's nothing. Hang on. Let's pull back some JSON where there's content there. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks for bringing that up. Let me remove the banner at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for that note. And thanks for letting us know. So what this part of the web developer tools allows us to do is look at the actual requests that are being sent from our browsers and what's coming back. And you can pull up special images. You can only look for things like JavaScript by filtering that out. Ones sent behind the scenes using this XML HTTP request kind of stuff. Let's see what we got here. So this is a request that was sent from my browser to the Geoguessr site. And let's see. Here's what initiated it. It was JSON. Here's the request. Well, here's the request, geoguessr.com API v3 challenges, daily challenges me. And what we can do is just right click on this copy URL and then go to another page. And here's the JSON that was shown in the response. Now for JSON, this is JSON or JavaScript object notation. It's a way of formatting of data coming back. Normally, it looks like this with the curly brace and the quotes. But in Firefox, hitting the JSON button will show it to you in a parsed format.
And if you're following along on Chrome, it doesn't do that. It doesn't prettify it for you. You're just left with that raw text. That's why one of the reasons I prefer Firefox for this kind of digging around.
Yep. Although there are plugins or extensions over in Chrome that allow you to do that JSON prettification. But here what we can see is the request I sent from my logged in browser was to this API v3 challenges daily dash challenges me. And what it sent back was this ID, nickname, OSINT Curious. I'm guessing that the ID is probably for my account over there. I'm hoping I'm not showing anything that's going to cause somebody to take over my account or something. Here we have the total score. That's the score that let me just make this bigger. That's the score that we got in our daily challenge. This is how many seconds, I guess, it took us. The total distance, I'm not sure what that means. And I'm not on the verified or on the leaderboard. So we just found an interesting place on the website to a point that was made earlier. Could we use this interesting data in a logged out browser and see what we get back? Yeah, absolutely. Could we use this to determine other places where we might be able to find things? Absolutely. And so what the wonderful web developer tools does is that it gives us deeper insight into what exactly our browser is doing when it's sending stuff back and forth to the web page. Anything you want to add there, Mr. Intel?
I was wondering if you're going to move on to how people abuse that function in Geoguessr, but maybe do we have time to do that now?
Yeah. How about if we do that on Wednesday? You and I together can do it. Maybe you can do that on Wednesday.
Okay, I'll have a look at that. It's kind of like telling people that Santa Claus isn't real, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, let's show you how easy it is to cheat. I mean, cheat for educational purposes, of course. Yes. But yeah, I mean, so one of the things that I wanted to do today is lay the groundwork for us to really do some deeper things later in the week, like getting a perfect score on Geoguessr's daily challenge, like doing user agents tomorrow. Now, let me show you something that's going to blow your mind, I think. I don't know if you probably know this, Nix. Back over in the inspector tab, actually not even on the inspector tab, Firefox and Chrome have some neat features that allow us to look at websites in different ways. Let me show you. Let's go to a website. This is a website that I made. It's called whatyou.info. Simple website, and all it does is echoes my IP address and my user agent back to me. Okay, that's all it does is IP address and whatever user agent I'm sending. A user agent, for those of you that don't know, is a little piece of text that you can see there that tells the website a little bit about your application that you're using to surf the web. So here, my web browser is telling it, hey, I'm using Linux on a 64-bit system, and I'm using Firefox version 89, which in fact I am. Now, tomorrow we're going to see how we change this and all, but one thing I want to show you is that built into Firefox's web developer tools and Chrome's developer tools is a feature that allows us to change this information. See this little responsive design mode with a phone and a tablet. When we click that, what it does is it changes how the page looks. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger there. Okay, this is how your browser appears in responsive mode. Now, it also kind of looks this way if you're on a mobile device. And in fact, what we can do here is click on the word responsive and pretend that we are on an iPhone XS iOS 12. When we click on that, our browser now visits and refreshes the web page and looks at it just like it would if it was if you were using one of those iPhone X devices. It changes the resolution of your screen, and if you look down here now, you see that the user agent has not been changed. What we'll do tomorrow is we will use this page to use our own user agent strings and not only change the resolution that we tell the website that we are, but we'll also change our user agent to match the device that we're trying to mimic. So what I want to show you here is that we can, clicking on this little responsive design, there's also over here in the more tools, you'll notice the responsive design mode. And here you can not only change the network speed at which you access the site. So if you're pretending to be on a 3G network, you can do that. And if you're on gigabit fiber or something, and you want to pretend like you are an iPhone on 3G, well, you can introduce some delays into your requests using these built-in tools that are in your browsers. I think they're fabulous. Have you ever played around with that, Nix? Or do you, when you change your user agent, have you used like the extensions or the add-ons?
I've used this bit in the past when I've built websites to see what they look like. But I've not used it for OSINT. But yeah, changing the user agent is often quite useful. But there are various plugins which will do that and either generate a random one for you, or you can specify which browser you're using. And then you always forget until you go to download something. It says, "Hey, you're using Windows 8." No, I'm not. Let me have the Linux.
Yeah. I will talk about that tomorrow. One of the neat things about user agents, like Nick and Stephen mentions, is that we have total control over that as the people that control the web browser. So if I want to pretend to be an iPhone whatever, or an Android device, or I want to pretend to be Google's a bot that's crawling different websites, I can change my user agent to be any of those things. And if you're interested in how or what that means or why you'd want to do that for OSINT, come back tomorrow. I'll explain all of it. For now, one of the biggest things I want you to know is just by looking at this data in the web and developer tools, either Firefox or Chrome or Chrome-based tool, you are not doing anything active. You're just looking at what comes into your browser and kind of piecing it apart. So I encourage you to, well, be OSINT curious. Click on this stuff. Look at what's in here. There's some things that you probably won't care about, like style editor, performance, but things like storage, what cookies are being stored on your system. Let's just see if I can go back over to Geoguessr and look at this. Hang on. Bring that up and let's look at storage. See, on Geoguessr, I've got some cookies in here. They might be some cached applications or other things. Play around with this, look at it. And if you have questions, Google it. Just look on the internet. There is a huge amount of resources out there to help you understand the internet better and the websites that you're using to gather the data. Now, back to my original question, and then we'll wrap this up. Why would you want to use this for OSINT? Well, let's take a look back at this site. And let's say that, you are really interested in, let's do a username. Let's do username search. You're really interested in using the username field, but you want to make sure that your browser is not sending those sensitive usernames that you're looking into to the Go Find Who site. I don't know who owns that site. So what you can do is take a look at Inspector and then mouse over. You can actually use this little tool right here, pick an element. We can come over here and pick that. And you can see here, let's move this. Hang on. There we go. All right. You can see what it's doing. As we scroll down here, here's a form. As we scroll down more, hang on. Here we go. Script. Let's take a look at that. See right here? I don't know if you can see that. I will copy this out for you. Copy. Let me make it bigger here. That didn't work at all. Well done, Micah. So this content down here, it tells us where it's going to be, what it's going to be doing in your browser. It says window.open. So it's going to open a new tab, and then it's going to visit www.usersherlock.com/user-search/, and it's going to add whatever you've put into the username field here in there. So if you wanted to do this yourself, you can just double click this, copy this out, open a new tab, and put in John Doe or whatever, and now you have you are visiting the resources directly and not using the people search webpage. So it allows us to really dissect the sites. Cool. Well, that was a lot more technical than I thought I was going to get into, but Hey, any questions? Let Nix and I know either in the chat here or over in the Searchlight Discord. As we talked about earlier, on the Searchlight Discord, the invite to it is right down there, the bit.ly/OSINT Curious Discord. We're on there. You can hit us up in the OSINT Curious channel or on Twitter or any one of the other platforms that we're on and ask us some questions or fill out that feedback form, and we're happy to talk more about it. All right, so that was some of the web developer tool stuff. And tomorrow, I'll show you a whole bunch with user agents and why you should care about them. And then on Wednesday, Nix, you're going to have the how to get a perfect score in Geoguessr set up for us.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Cool. And maybe if that doesn't take a long time, then we can do some command line tools and Python and stuff. That's always fun. Awesome. Cool. All right, sir. Well, we have gone through a whole nother hour here. Thank you to our audience. Thank you to Stephen Harris here for being my wonderful colleague and guest. Appreciate you coming and joining me, man.
It's fun always.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And thank you to our OSINT Curious viewers out there, wherever you are, helping us to get a really great score for Geoguessr. I'm absolutely thrilled. And the hard part is, keeping that up the rest of the week. But I think we'll do it. All right. So I want you to stay OSINT Curious and come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And we'll see you then. All right.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.